welcome to the show today. I'm Katherine Jenkins, and this is the Jenkins Art Studio. Today I have a beautiful painting for you. This is called the Rose Garden, and the reason I call it the Rose Garden is because it looks like the roses are growing right up out of the garden, the leaves coming off the bottom. Let's take a look at the one I'm working from today. There it is, beautiful pink, kind of wild roses. These aren't the tea roses. I don't know the name of these roses. If any of you gardeners know the name of these roses, let me know. Write in and let me know. But they're just beautiful pink roses, all the leaves coming up off the bottom and the big long tendrils and stems of leaves and buds. So it looks like it's just popping right up out of the garden. So we call it Rose Garden. So before we get started, I want to explain a little bit about what I've done to the canvas up here. This is a 16 by 20 size stretch canvas. This could also be done on an 18 by 24 if you like. I've started by coating the entire canvas with black. This is a black gesso or black acrylic on here, and I let that dry, and then I take my large this is a number 32 Badger brush, and I pick up a little sienna and green mixed together, sienna and sap green, with medium. That's why this is so shiny. It's got medium in it, a lot of medium. And I take the green and sienna mixture and paint the entire background. Now, first of all, before you do that though, after you get your black on, after you get your black acrylic, you take your pattern, which will be in the painting packet, and you do a sketch or a tracing with white graphite of the two roses. That's right after you do the black, and the black is dry. You put your sketch on of the two roses, and then I just went around and kind of outlined with a little pink paint. And then you put your green and your sienna mixture with your medium all over the background area, staying out of the area where the roses are. That's real important. And then I started one here just to save some time. I started with some crimson, alizarin crimson, and I just blocked in the whole inside of the rose. I didn't pay any attention to the inside petals or anything. I just blocked in the whole thing with crimson and medium. And I'm going to show you how I do that on this one here, but I left it out because I wanted you to see this part. So we'll come down to the palette, and I'm going to pick up some medium. I'm switching over now to the 22 bright brush, and medium and crimson. Now remember those base tones. If you're just joining us for the first time, the base tones have a lot of medium, quite a lot of medium. And we'll just come up here, and I'm just going to fill in. I'm not concerned with anything that's going on in the middle. You might want to leave the little center area where the stamens are without the red. And I'm blocking in. Just don't worry too much about the drawing. It's not that important. It's more or less there just as a guide, just as a real rough little sketch for you to go by. And all these petals will show up just wonderful when we get the nice, beautiful pink color on. But you want to get this base tone this dark. That's real important. Now I'm going to dip into a little bit of black, little medium, and some crimson again. Black, just a touch of black, mostly crimson, because I want to darken that crimson just a little bit. And I know back here, you're not going to be able to tell on your screen at home, but when you're doing it, when you see it on your own canvas, you're going to be able to tell that this is a little bit darker, more shadow areas that I'm putting in underneath, just here and there. When you look at your photograph, you'll be able to see where those shadows are. And we'll rinse off the brush now, and we'll start that background. I want to get into that background just a little bit before we start the roses. So we've got, let me hold up a photo where I got this idea from. I want to show you. This was out of my rose garden, and this is a photo of where I got the inspiration. See the two little roses, and most of the background was pretty dark, so you have to kind of just make up your own background. Now, the backgrounds are made up of these, you can see sometimes when you take your photographs, all the little light shots coming around in the background. You take a close-up of a rose, and then all this light stuff just kind of is sun filtering through the leaves, and that becomes out of focus. And that's where you get a lot of ideas to put these little light shots in your background. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to pick up back to the big 32-inch brush, this big, beautiful Badger brush. And let's pick up some green and sienna. And I'm going to dip into a little bit of a lighter mixture I've got here, green and yellow. And let's start right over here in this area, right up here. And I'm just going to, look at that, how bright. I'm just going to put it on. Don't be afraid of it. I'm just going to block that in. Now remember, this is wet. This has medium and darker green on the background, maybe a little over here. And I'm going to leave that there. And then I'm going to pick up, wipe off my brush, and pick up some pink or rose color. This has a little white in it. And I'm going to block some in right here. Look at how bright and beautiful. And then we'll work that out. Now I'm going to show you how we're going to blend this out. I'm going to leave that right there. And I'm going to pick up this big blender brush, big soft blender. And we're just going to blend this out. And we're going to swirl it around in different directions and get some neat stuff. And this is going to be the lights filtering through the background. Now you have to keep wiping your brush. Just keep swirling this around, pulling it around in different directions. And those are those beautiful, beautiful reflected lights in the background. And most of these will be covered up with leaves, and you'll only see part of this. So you can put it on a little brighter than you think you need it, because probably only about 30% of this is going to show. But by using this blender, this just pulls in all different directions, a little abstract, get some really neat little swirls going around. You get so many ideas from looking at many, many, many photos, and you'll see how all the backgrounds are different, and use different bits and pieces from different backgrounds. Let's bring this up right up here. There we go. Okay, now just remember, a little bit of that's going to be peeking out. Okay, we're going to start some leaves. And I always keep paper towel. I always hold paper towel in my left hand. And you can keep wiping your brush off. And let's pick up some green and sienna. A little bit of green and sienna. Let's start some dark leaves way in the background. Right up over this lighter area, we're going to start some dark little wiggle, guys. See those? Wiggle, wiggle, up and out. When you see our technique tape, you'll be able to see how we do these really, really slow. Get some dark ones coming out over the light. Maybe up here. These are those leaves way in the background. Wiggle, wiggle, up and out. Easy, easy. And on this wet background, the paint flows really good. Watch it doesn't drip though. I got a little bit of a drip there. Be sure you don't use too much medium. If you've already got medium on the background, as we do, you don't want to get too much on your brush when you're painting these leaves. And these are those dark guys way in the background. Okay, we're going to start on those flowers, and we're going to get some petals in there. Now this time I'm going to pick up, remember we have the dark crimson on the brush, and I'm going to go a little lighter. This is rose and white, and we're going to go around and start picking out these petals. That stroke, pushing down and lifting up, sweeping in, that's the stroke we're going to use. Now remember, refer to your photo when you're doing this, and it will show you these shapes. And keep your blender brush handy, because we'll be softening some of these leaves out, some of these petals. Now this is kind of a middle tone. This isn't the highlighted area yet. And I'm only concerned about the outside edge of the petals, the outside petals rather. I'm not going in for those petals inside yet. They have some nice ruffled edges. You can make some little curly edges on them. And these are just those outside petals. And we'll go all the way around. This is white and rose. And I'll show you in a minute how we're going to blend this. A lot of you ask about getting inspiration. Well, we go out into gardens. Whenever we're not on the road teaching, we try to go out and get as many pictures of gardens as we can, all around Ashland, and wherever we travel, we see the gardens. And that's a good way for you, when you get a chance, is go out and look at different places. There we go, there's one of the places we went to. Gary and I, out with our cameras every chance we get. I guess you might say photography is my hobby, and I do a lot of photography. There's nothing better than going out on a sunny day with your camera and with the one you love and doing a lot of photographing. It's so much fun. Okay, we're gonna go in now for the center. Some of these this has kind of a double layer of petals, and I'm going just a little lighter. And I'm just picking these out. Some of them are just little skinny. You're kind of looking at the side of them. And we'll just scoot around here. Simple, simple. Remember, we've got a technique tape for you to see, and that will give you a lot of ideas and a lot of insight on how to do these strokes. And maybe we'll put another one just shooting around here, just little guys. And let's go back and highlight a couple of these. Some of them have a flipped up edge, flipped over edge. So you can put that little highlight in there to flip the edge over. And we'd like to ask you to send photographs of your roses too. Gary had the idea we should start a rose painting club, a rose society, only it's a rose painting society, because some of you are doing the most gorgeous roses and some of you grow beautiful roses. So why not send us pictures of what you're doing? And the best ones, the ones that win our little contest, will get shown on the air. And I think that'll be fun. On our next series, we'll show a bunch of photos of what you're doing and how well you're doing. Now I'm going to start over on this guy, and I'm just going to plunk around. This is in that rose and white, kind of a middle tone. And I'm going to just go all the way around like I did. Now you could paint tea roses, you could paint peonies, all sorts of big flowers using this technique. The only difference is your drawing changes a little bit and your shape a little bit, but it's the same idea. Now this is just the middle tone, and in a moment we'll put our highlights and go all the way around this one. This one's just kind of tucked underneath the other one. We've got some petals kind of shooting around from the side view. It's turned just a little bit. And back here where it tucks under the other one, we'll just let it go into shadow just a little bit, blend that in, and just let it kind of go into shadow. And let's put just a few highlights in that one, maybe in the middle here. Remember that push and lift, push and lift. And I'm not going to highlight that one as much. Now we'll take our little mop brush. This is that real important little round brush, or you could use the big blender. But this time I'm going to just take the mop and we're going to blend these petals out to soften just a little bit. Blend, 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 blend. Great, great little brush. Now remember, again, I'll mention I did have that wet background on here. Whoops, dropped my mop. Well, let's see. Let me reach over and get another one here. Reach way over in my basket. That shows you're relaxed. When you're relaxed at home and you're holding your brush really, really loose, sometimes I'll fling my brush clear across the room, and that means you're not holding onto your brush too tight, and that means you're real relaxed, and you should hold onto your brush really loosely. And so that just means I'm relaxed. And I'm sure that'll happen to you, where you'll be in there painting and your brush will go flying across the room and you'll hit your husband in the head with it. And you'll say, well, Catherine told me to not hold my brush too tight, so I thought I'd throw it at you. Okay, let's get the centers in. I'm going to use a smaller brush. This is a number 12. No, it's a number 18. And some sienna and orange, cadmium orange, and I'm just going to block this center in, just like that. And on this one, we'll start getting some darks in the center. And in the middle, way in the middle, we'll get a little bit of yellow. I'm using the corner of my brush. And then I'm going to show you how to put the stamens in. We'll pick up yellow and white. This is the little liner brush. Excuse me, it's a little round, sable round. And we'll just come out here and come up and push, come up and push. Whoops, I'm gonna get that a little darker. How about some ochre and yellow, or you could use ochre and orange. And we'll come out and push, come out and push. There we go. We'll darken those guys up a little. Come out and push, come out and push. And there's a whole bunch of them in here. There's a lot of them. And because you're looking at this flower straight on, they would go all the way around, all the way around. And let's do this one over here. Come out and push, push, push. Start with the tip and then flatten the brush out. Whole bunch of them. Because these roses don't have a lot of petals, they open up fully and then you can see the whole center. Okay, let's get on those leaves. Now, because this is a look of a garden, a rose garden, instead of just having the flowers floating in the middle of the canvas, we're going to be bringing leaves up from the bottom this time and stems up, just so it's growing right up out of the garden. So we'll start with some green and sienna. Those are the two basic colors that we would start with. You can also use green and crimson. You could use green and blue. All kinds of things for foliage. We'll start down here with the edge of the brush. And we'll just, let me get that a little lighter so you can see it. Well, that's light. That's got a little yellow in it. And I think you can see that at home, and we'll bring some stems up here. And there's going to be lots of stems, remember, because they're going to be going to a lot of different buds and a lot of different leaves. Maybe come all the way up back here on this side and bring some around, curve some around. Nice and loose and free. This particular look, you can bring those stems right off the edge of the canvas, right off the edge. And some of them you might want to go and thicken up a little bit, make them a little more healthy looking, because roses have pretty sturdy stems, at least the main stems, and they also have little twigs, not little twigs, little, what do you call those things? Little thorns. Those little things that are a nuisance. There, but they're necessary. And how about something way up over here? Maybe get a little stem going. Okay, let's start some leaves. I'm going to start out with the green and sienna. This will be very, very dark to start with on the dark background, so you may not see it real good. But this is those big, great big leaves, and in a minute you'll be able to see these when I highlight them. And they twist and they turn, they come right up over the stems. So the stems are just peeking through. Don't forget to overlap them. When you're doing this at home, I'm going to put a little blue, maybe a little bit of light blue in one of them. When you're doing this at home, there we go, you'll be able to see them more. Normally I would like to start out with a little darker green down here and then highlight, but for the sake of you at home, I want you to be able to see these. So we'll just put them in a little lighter today. Remember that stroke, paint toward the center of the leaf, and have these guys twisting and turning all different directions. How about some little wiggle wiggles over here? Push down, up and out, push down and out. Little wiggle wiggles, see that? Simple, simple. Once you know your techniques, it's no problem. And with this wet background, it's just perfect because it goes on so easy. A couple shooting down out from under the roses this time. Maybe one over here. And I'll show you how to highlight these with some beautiful warm colors in a few minutes. Let's get a big one way out here. Real big one. Way out here. There we go. Have them twisting and turning all different directions. Maybe have another one come up here. You could bring one right up the tip of it, right up over the rose. Oh, and don't forget to check out our website. You can email us now. We love to hear from you on the email, and we have lots of neat new things on the web. So don't forget to check that out. I'm going to add a little pink to the green. I didn't wash out my brush. I just want to add a little pink, and I'm going to go up here and do some little wiggle wiggles, because rose leaves are not always green. See that? Looks like you put all those little colors in just one at a time by just not rinsing out your brush. And have this picture was just full of leaves. Maybe down here I'll pick up some yellow and light green, maybe a little white, make a light green, kind of a lime green. And in here, we'll put some real bright shots, real bright ones. Look at that. Just really, really spark it up a little bit. Give it some nice accent colors. Go right over some of those dark ones in the background. Now we've got some buds and I want to try to get those in. I'm going to rinse off my little bit smaller brush. I think it's the number 18. And let's try some buds. Pick up your foliage color. And where should we put one? How about here? Now this painting I'm working from has about 3 or 4 buds in, but I may not get them all in, so let's just try to get 1 or 2 in. I'm going to lighten this a little bit, put a little more green, light green, and you're going to twist it. Start with the edge of the brush and twist. You see that? And then we'll put the pink. Well, let's start with crimson and do a little, it's kind of like a little teardrop shape. And you can pick up your pink, your rose color, and do some little, show some little petals, and just make kind of a little rag atop. Wipe off your brush, pick up your green and sienna, and let's just go right through the middle. You see that? Push and lift and taper off. Come around the bud. Remember, the buds are nice and round. Darken this a little bit underneath. We can put a little bit of blue and light green and highlight it a little bit. There you go, to see it. And that's your bud. Now, if I was going to be working at home on this, I would put several buds in here. But I want to show you how to tint those leaves. I want to show you how to put some other beautiful colors on these leaves so we can tie the leaf color, the flower color, down into the leaves. This is the rose and white. And we get some beautiful warm colors on these leaves. You push down and you don't pull in quite all the way to the middle of the leaf. You can do a little bit up the other side. Let's go in with maybe some crimson and do some a little darker. How about over here to bring one leaf in front of another? You can bring in those other colors. And how about right here? I'm just going to jump all around and do a whole lot at once here. And maybe down here. You can also put some beautiful blue color, some cool reflected light. Let's go right down here. And how about over here? It's your painting, so you just decide where you want these lights. Just be careful you don't do them all over, and if it gets too hard looking, just take your blender and soften some of these colors in. When you're getting finished, when you're getting ready to finish up, you want to be sure if you put your leaves in afterward, you've got to go back and bring your edges of your flowers out over the leaves. So I think we did great today. We got a lot in, and I hope your painting turns out great. And just get out in your garden and take lots and lots of photographs and paint those beautiful, beautiful roses. So until I see you next time, bye-bye.